Hello, sixth graders. Welcome to ELA week 10. Today we are going to be working on the essay, your cite paragraph rough draft. So you're going to begin your rough draft, and then on Thursday we will work on completing that. But if you could get it completed today, that would be great as well. Also, I would like you to, if you have not done so already, read chapter 11 of Who Was Jacques Cousteau, and then complete the comprehension questions. And I apologize, this is together. I tried to edit it and it just wasn't working, so it's kind of all one big clump. But you're going to complete the comprehension questions in section 3 of Jacques Cousteau. And when we get to our cite paragraph, I did put down here for more information on active and passive voice, which you will be using in your cite paragraph. Take a look at the video linked below under resources. So if you scroll down to resources right here, there's a link. It's not my video. My videos aren't that good, but it is a video that I found that kind of explains active and passive voice very well, and explaining that active voice is when the subject is doing the action, and then passive voice is when they're receiving the action. And it'll go more in detail there. But let's go back to the top, see what your upload is for this week. It is the section 3 brainstorm, topic wheel, and draft. And I believe that is what we are doing on Thursday. Yes. Okay. So let's take a look at, the essay. So let me open that up for you. 6th grade. Okay, so this is, if you do not have it, there is a link to this on the dashboard. Getting started week 2. So that's right there if you need it. But here's the link. Okay, so lesson 1, getting started. We did work on this the other day. Talking about writing through the senses, cite using some strong words, and using active voice, instead of passive voice. And on a side note, I was going to try to screen record this and then do all that, and I tried that, but it didn't work out too well. So we're doing it the simple, not as nice way. So I apologize for the that's not as seamless as I would have liked. So anyway, okay, so right through the senses, cite. We're just going to I'm going to reread this stuff just to review, and then we'll discuss these again, and then we'll go over your rough draft and kind of what you need to do for that. So remember, this is going to be a paragraph. It doesn't have to be a full essay. Your Jacques Cousteau, that will be an essay, but this one is just a paragraph. So right through the senses, cite. As writers, we gather details that will spark the reader's senses. This week, write a paragraph through the sense of cite, avoiding all passive verbs. So remember, that's when the subject of the sentence is receiving the action. So incorporating instead strong active verbs where they are actually doing the action. Use as many of the voice techniques as possible. Remember, this is a voice exercise, and as such may sound stilted. The purpose is to experiment with language and gain confidence using the tools that will elevate your voice. So remember, the voice is like your, the way you write, the each writer has a certain voice, if you will, that they use. So here's an example of the paragraph, example of writing through the sense of sight. So let's read it again and pay attention to the bolded verbs that they use for the active the active verbs, and the descriptions they use for explaining the different things in New York City. So let's take a look. Flashing red, green, orange, and blue billboards compete for my attention as I saunter dazedly down Times Square. Psychedelic lights replace the moon and stars in the Manhattan sky. Scores of people walk determinedly past me like an army of robots outfitted in black winter coats. The New Yorkers do not cast a single glance at an overwhelmed tourist like myself. Shiny black skyscrapers tower above me from all sides. People shuffle in and out of stores that cater to every sized pocketbook. I walk past various electronic shops simultaneously displaying cameras, stereos, and TVs at deceivingly low prices. Neon white light illuminates the sidewalk in front of a Rolex watch store. The nightly news anchor looks down at me placidly from giant TV screens suspended in the night. In the distance, King Kong clutches an enormous Empire State Building made entirely out of Legos. So you can see here they used some, some good active verbs to kind of enhance their writing, like clutches and illuminates, something that is doing, showing the action. But they also are using some good details too. For example, what did I see? Screens suspended in the night instead of just the TV screens were there. They used the TV screens suspended in the night. So keep those things in mind as you're doing your writing. These you should have done the other day. It does say begin your cite paragraph by brainstorming some topic ideas. I know we talked about a few of these the other day, but you can always add more. And then now generate a list of descriptive cite words. So those are the things, like I said, about like suspended, TV screen suspended in the night. Simultaneously displaying cameras. So basically like the italicized parts of this paragraph. And then finally complete a list of active verbs you might use for this paragraph, for your paragraph. So the bold words are the active verbs that they used, but there are obviously multiple active verbs that you can use. Okay, so now today what you need to do is work on your rough draft. So it says begin drafting your cite paragraph. Use a highlighter to find your verbs and make sure you have not used the passive voice. If you have, make revisions. Once you have completed writing, reread your work a final time. So today I at least want you to do the first part, begin drafting your cite paragraph, and then use a highlighter, use a highlighter to find your verbs, and then at least think about whether they are active or passive voice. So make sure you've not used the passive voice. Like I said, on that video that I have linked on the dashboard, it's a good way to explain active versus passive voice. Also, when you are, when you are doing this, I would just write it, let it flow, think of some descriptive words, and then once you have it done, use your highlighter, highlight those verbs, and then maybe make notes if you think later of, or as you're rereading it, of some descriptive cite words or descriptive words that you can think that might enhance your writing. Go ahead and do that. So do that for today. On Thursday, we'll work on this a little bit more by rereading and rewriting it a final time for the rough draft. Then we'll do the student self-evaluation. We'll talk more about that on Thursday. And then your cite paragraph final draft will be later as well. So for now, for today, start your cite paragraph, highlight your verbs, make sure you didn't use the passive voice, watch that linked video, and read Jacques Cousteau, chapter 11. Let's double check. And then, of course, complete your comprehension questions from section 3. So those, actually, I think I have those up here as well. So here's section 3. Let's go over those real quick. Sentences, comprehension questions. So keep these in mind as you read. Answer the following questions using complete sentences. So what job did Cousteau take after leaving the French Navy? Where did Cousteau live during his experiments in 1962? What were the problems with Deep Cabin, the deepest habitat Cousteau built underwater? What were the side effects of the men who were breathing 98% helium aboard? Sorry, my husband's calling me. I don't know if you could still hear me. I hope so. What were the side effects of the men who were breathing 98% helium aboard the Conshelf 3? What was Cousteau's first television special, and who was it narrated by? How did the Calypso escape the fighting armies during the 6-Day War? And then lastly, why did Cousteau establish the Cousteau Society? So answer those today as well. And then, as you can see, these are the topic and stuff that we'll work on Thursday. So back to review what we need to do today. Work on your rough draft. Read chapter 11 if you didn't already, and answer those comprehension questions. Again, if you need help figuring out active and passive voice for your rough draft, the link is down here. Okay, thank you. Have a good day, and I will see you guys on Thursday.